Ladies and gentlemen, we are live once again on the episode of Roofing on the Rise, where you can find an amazing roofing innovation right here. We are sponsored by Roofing Supply Incorporated here in the Houston marketplace, where you can get your shingles from me. Telephone number is 210-919-8987. Again, 210-919-8987. We're also sponsored by West Group Public Adjusters, where you get an awesome hand-tailored claims experience. If you guys are wondering how to get a hold of them, go to West Group Public Adjusters on Facebook or go ahead and shoot me a call. Telephone number 210-919-8987. Today, we have an amazing guest. We happen to have amazing guests all the time, but this one's just a little different. I'd like to introduce Dmitry Libinsky. Dmitry, how are you doing today?
Living the dream, brother. Thank you for
Dude,
having me.
this is freaking awesome. I know we've been trying to do this for a little bit. Um, so yeah, thank you so much for coming along and agreeing to this interview, man.
Absolutely. Glad we could make it happen. He offered me several times on Saturdays. Unfortunately, I don't do Saturdays. I don't work Saturday or Sunday. And we tried to do it several Fridays, and I guess it doesn't work, but I'm happy to be here.
Man, I do appreciate you staying on top of it. I've made a lot of life changes here recently, and a part of those was trying to free up time during the week, and so I started streaming on Saturdays. But I have noticed a lot of people take the weekend like yourself, so it's hard to get everyone to say conform to your schedule. So I've been opening it up, and especially to get this podcast in. I'm definitely stoked to be able to do this today.
Absolutely.
Um, so do this. Introduce yourself to us and kind of what you do, so that we just kick this thing off the right way.
Sounds good. Well, it's pretty complicated when people ask me what I do. Even when people ask my wife, "What does your husband do?" It's very hard to explain. I own 5 businesses today. They're all in the roofing space. So I have online roofing school for roofers. I have a roofing process conference. We've been doing that for 5 years. I have directory, my biggest business, biggest aspirations, my billion-dollar idea will connect homeowners and contractors. I also recently got into materials. We do manufacture underlayments and stuff. Actually, today we just sold our first order. So I've been working on that for a year, and pretty much YouTube became my career a couple of years ago. So YouTube is a backbone of what I do. Some people call me influencer. I don't like that, but when you do 3 4 big pieces of content per week, I guess the title will come with it, but I don't like the term. I'm a YouTuber as well, and that's in a nutshell what I do.
Man, that's awesome. I think I had my mic off there for a second, which is freaking amazing. The journey is freaking awesome here. So just welcoming everybody here. Dimitri, explained a little bit about what he does, and I'm just excited to be able to do this interview today. Speaking of YouTube, let's jump into that. As a prominent YouTuber in the roofing industry, how do you use your platform to educate and empower homeowners and contractors?
So it's a dual audience, very, very simple. Like you want to create guides. You want to be unbiased consumer advocate. It's very, very hard, no matter what you do, no matter what your intentions are. People like you cannot please everyone. So I always have homeowners' interest in mind. Like I want to do what's good for end consumer. I want to educate. I do everything like if that would be my mom making the decision. I love consuming good content on YouTube, and a lot of my decisions are based on my personal experience. When my fridge breaks down, when my garage door breaks down, I go to YouTube and I literally YouTube everything: how to fix garage door, how to replace filter in Samsung, what you call it, like refrigerator, how to make your grass greener, how to change pool in on your pool. Like wherever the search is, I'm there because YouTube is the university. YouTube is education. There's so much content on YouTube, and I want to make sure that I produce the best content in my industry when people are searching for ideas for products, for questions. They have a source that will say it how it is and not be afraid to speak up about issues. So I love talking about warranties. I love talking about product failures, and I love highlighting what really works. If my mom called me or my friend called me, like as a matter of fact, I have friends reaching out to me now that I did not speak for 5, 10 years, and they're like, "Hey, Dimitri, insurance is paying for my roof. What shingle should I buy?" And I
Hmm,
give them the answer I would give to others on YouTube. So that's pretty much being myself, being as real as I am in life. Like, if you're my friend and you ask me a question, I'm gonna answer it the same way I would answer a question in my next YouTube video.
that's awesome. So what what drove you to start that YouTube?
Being broke, not having money to advertise. Back in 2015, when I started my first YouTube channel, so I had a company, Storm Group Roofing, started in 2013, and I was doing the research, what works, and I needed to get the name out. I knew that branding and marketing is the only way. I never door knocked in my life. Well, I did recently with the Prosper Roofing there in Houston. Uh,
Yeah.
so I did not know how to generate business. I built a brand, I built a company, and now I needed more homeowners to call my company. And I started my company in 2013 with the $2,000 in my pocket. I wrapped my first vehicle, started getting calls, and I did 900,000 first year. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. I did not know what I'm going to do. And then second year, 1.3, 2.5, 3.9, it grew from there. But in order to sustain the growth and to keep your people busy, you need leads. And I'm like, how can I do it? And YouTube was the answer. It was free. Like many people don't realize, guys, YouTube is free. Facebook is free. You already have a phone. You don't need to buy a camera. Like right now, I have 50, $60,000 studio, but you can do all of that with a phone. Like if you study, like Mr. Beast, the YouTuber number one, when he started like 7 years ago, he's imagine the phone that he has, like the pixels. He
Yeah.
started with like 720 was the highest quality. So you can start with anything. So I started a YouTube channel to get my company name out, and it worked. I remember it took me 2 weeks to record my first video. I
Mm,
I wore dress pants, dress shirt. For me, like I had to like I imagine myself as speaking, I don't know, at a conference in front of 1,000 people because
mm,
nervous. I took it seriously, and I
yeah.
started pairing James Hardy versus LP Smart Side. That was one of the very first videos I've done, and it started generating business right away. I remember this homeowner called me, said, Demetri, I've seen your video, James Hardy versus LP Smart Side. I was considering to buy LP Smart Side, but you sold me on James Hardy, so I called you to get to get price from you, and I sold him $25,000 James Hardy
Wow.
job. And when stuff like that start happening, I have homeowners walking into my office saying, "I've seen you on YouTube. Decided to check if you're real." And then I made several pieces of content that was not good for the homeowners, but was for roofing. So like I remember what it was. I was so pissed at Home Advisor because a couple of my friends got screwed, and I decided to make a video. I actually recorded a phone call with the Home Advisor. I documented my journey. I did not want to even join, but I said I'm gonna document it. So I signed up, spent 2 grand, documented, recorded a phone call, published it. But I remember seeing the comments because it was on Storm Group Roofing YouTube channel, and people saying, "How do you think?" Someone commented, what do you think homeowners will think about you having beef with this marketing company who are
Mm,
about to hire you? And it really drove home for me because it was a wake up call. They were right. Homeowner does not care about my drama with this
yeah.
home advisor. It's not a good look, but roofers love it because someone have to stand up to this
Right.
giant and say it how it is. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start another channel. And at that time, I had 1,500 subscribers on Storm Roof Roofing, and I started from scratch. So I started the Roofing Insights channel just for roofers. Took me about a year to outgrow it as far as subs and views goes. I
Right.
didn't do it for 3 years. I didn't monetize it. So all my content for roofers went to Roofing Insights, and all my business content went to Storm Group. I had a
Mm,
videographer coming to me once a week. We're, you know, filming for both channels. But that was
yeah.
the story. And then after like a year and a half, Roofing Insights became bigger and never came back.
Mm. So you kind of touched a little bit there about Home Advisor and your your view of home advisor, opposed to, say, your view as a contractor opposed to a client or a homeowner,
Mhm.
and how you had to separate those two. So let's talk a little bit about the heat, right? So how do you get started with the roofing insights besides that split there? What was, besides drama, was there anything else
Oh,
that drove you or inspired you to expose contractors and or manufacturers?
100%. Well, first of all, the drama was not the only thing. I want like
Okay.
what I noticed early on. So I started doing this, shingle guide. So who makes the best shingle? And
Yep.
the thing about it was I made my first shingle guide for Storm Group Roofing channel, but it wasn't. It was the audience was too big. So you think about being regional. So for me, targeting entire country was not good for my local Minneapolis roofing company. So you have to think big.
Okay.
And I have decided that my guides gonna be on the roofing inside. So like the content that other roofers can agree or comment or engage, like the whole 9 yards. So like reviews of the product. So pretty much everything I've done, I like shingle guides, guides, good and bad. I started doing it to Roofing Insights and Storm Group Roofing. I kept it to my story, to what we do, to local. But that's the local audience, and this
Right.
is national audience. So once you understand who his end viewer is, and of course people will watch Storm Group Roofing from anywhere because YouTube is open, but you optimize the video. Like you can do, like for example, can you install roofs in the wintertime? It makes sense for Minneapolis contractor to make that video, but for Roofing Insights, it would be like every year we started doing best and worst shingle guides, best and worst gutter covers, best and worst siding. So I have three guides that I've been doing every year. I'm getting into windows now. We started doing marketing videos because demand for marketing was so big from roofers. So I started doing marketing guides every year. Like, here's where you advertise, here's what works, what doesn't work. So that was kind of a guide. So, and also, the thing about YouTube is you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's going to. It's just like writing a song. If you're an artist, no one writes songs that become a popular. Like, there's no saying. Like, sometimes artists write a song and it just goes viral. The same with the
Right.
videos. The same. If anyone tells you that they know how to write a hit song, they're lying to you because they don't. It happens by accident. The same
Yeah.
thing with the YouTube. You will create 100 YouTube videos. What you have to do is go back, analyze your content, and see what really stuck. I remember my number one
Mm.
video. I would never imagine. Number one video is best and worst gutter guards. Actually, best and worst gutter guards from big box stores. I remember to this day. That day, I did not have an idea. Video guy was scheduled to come to me, so he came, and I'm like, you know what? I think it was September or end of August. Leaves are falling. Let's go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and Menards right around us. So we spent 3 hours, went to three stores, bought every product, laid it in front of me, and all I did is gave my opinion. I had a gutter company at the time, and we were removing tons of gutter guards that does not work. Your sponge, your plastics. Like, I know it doesn't work and I know what
Right.
works well. So I did that video. Boom. I mean, we were getting hundreds of thousands of views. Now it's over millions. And when you start doing that, immediately people start asking more questions. What about leaf filter? What's your opinion on leaf filter? So now
Mm.
you're feeding. So now you have a question and you're like, okay, my next video will be my thoughts on leaf filter. And now it's just snowballing. But what you have to do is analyze your content, because most of the time 80% of your views, 90% of your views coming from 10-20% of your videos. And so many creators don't get it. They keep creating content that doesn't stick. So if you've done 110 videos perform well, analyze what they are and make more of those videos. So now today I know that gutter videos always do well, which makes sense because gutter is
I
busier
can still
category.
see you, like, hanging from the gutter, bro. Like,
Yep.
I've seen that. I love that shit.
Yep. So that's what I've done.
So, speaking of, doing these reviews, right? I'm sure you can get some heavy backlash from
Oh,
some of this. Can you
like
can
like
you
getting sued.
can you expound on some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I have gotten like 10 cease and desist letters. I've paid a couple $100,000 in like had lawsuits that lasted long time, long fights. Even right now, I have one like Lee Haight and his lawyer trying to sue me, and good luck with that. I'm a fighter. If
Yeah,
if I know what I say is true, if I know that truth is behind me, and I'm fighting the good cause, you cannot bully me. I don't care how many billions you have. Let's go, because
yeah,
I'm gonna defend myself. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm gonna say, you know what, I was wrong. I should not have said it. But yeah, you're gonna piss someone off. 100%. Happens all the time. Actually, very common in the YouTube space, and that's why news companies, they all lawyered up. And I mean, imagine running a news company. You're CNN, Fox, big, like
right,
you do the coverage on someone and they don't like it. Well, guess what? I'm gonna cut it off, and we're not like you need lawyers.
right.
As a matter of fact, YouTube will offer even legal help to their creators because YouTube knows that creators gonna get hit, and sometimes
Hmm,
it's not fair game. I mean, sometimes
yeah,
companies are soon. Check this out. I just came from a company in Ohio. The guy is getting cease and desist. Pretty much, he's suing. Someone is suing him for infringement, trademark lawsuit, essentially copyright violations. He does not
okay.
even know who's suing him.
Hmm,
They're revealing it in November. It's very common. Like, yeah, I've been sued a lot.
wow, wow. Um, what's your what was your biggest lawsuit so far over
Uh,
content?
I can't speak, but it's one of the largest players in the roofing industry.
Okay,
So
I
it
think I know.
lasted. Yeah,
I
I
think I know
can't.
which one that is.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
won't talk about that because I don't want to get sued either. Um, still riding on this criticism slash backlash. How do you handle the criticism and backlash that comes with exposing contractors and manufacturers?
You have to know who your target audience is. The best advice I ever got, and it was last year. I went to Vid Summit Roofing YouTube conference, and one of the ladies YouTube creator went on stage and she said that she makes all her videos for one person. You have to have avatar. You have to know your perfect audience. And she said, like, I make my videos for this one. Like, she identify her person who she makes videos for.
Yeah,
And she said, every time I make a video, I'm thinking about that person. Would he like it? And she described him. She said, he likes little drama. He likes this. He likes that. And for me, that because you cannot please everyone, right? And if you're
right.
gonna try to please everyone, you will not. So, like for many years, it's changed. I have a different person now, but for many years, my target audience was he had the name Nate Schwippy, one of
Okay.
my fans, one of like right.
Yeah,
And every video I would create, I'm like, would Nate Schwippy be okay with this video? So let's say I call out a crook or a marketer. I
yeah,
would think like I sometimes I would even call Nate and I said, Nate, what do you think about it? Because I see what he likes, what and Nate does not agree with everything I do per se, but if my audience is a hardworking owner operator, hardworking business owner who runs $3 million company, and if he likes that I call out bullshit in the industry, if he likes when I call out bad product or bad player, you know why not do it? Of course, someone might say, Dmitry, focus on something different. I might, but I also, it's not, you have to understand who your audience is. And when 90% of your audience agrees with you and, you know, thirsty for the content, produce it because someone has to do it. Like
yeah,
what people don't know and don't realize, we content creators also get a lot of requests, and we look bad when we do the story and we don't do the story. And I've
yeah,
I've actually had more hate for not running some stories, like, oh, you're sellout, or you're not gonna call this guy out. I'm like, this is not my full-time job. Sometimes
right.
I create a story or I do something just
Yeah.
to set the precedent, just to establish that listen, there is a media company in the industry who can do it. Don't be that guy because you can be next. But I'm not in a it's not my full-time job to call out everyone.
I love that because, like, you know, I've talked about, speaking with you and having a podcast before, and a lot of the people that I know, they've got this preconceived idea that that's all you do is YouTube, and they're like, "Dude, "Are you serious? He's gonna have a list of questions for you already." And I'm like, "Dude, you have no clue what you're talking about." And I'm so glad we were able to talk about your roofing company,
Sure.
right? Because not a lot of people know that you were a roofer, right?
Of course.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Your roofing company, is it still in existence? Is it
Yeah.
still going out there? Okay, cool. Um, what right now? What are the common issues or challenges that say your team faces in the roofing industry, and how do you help overcome them?
So I'm not part. So I've been in the roofing contractor from 2013 to 2020. I sold my company 3 years ago.
Okay.
The actual 1 mile from my office here. So I sold it to my
Oh,
general
cool.
manager. I'm not involved in it. The company is called Storm Group Roofing. They're still in business. They still operate. They're still growing. A lot of people that I've hired still work there. Love the brand, love the company. It was a perfect exit for me. It became almost like roofing business is very hectic. And
Yeah.
when people ask me like, "Oh, it's so stupid, so dumb. Why would you ever sell a roofing company?" And I tell people there's few things. So number one, it was conflict of interest. It's very hard to recommend contractors like a roofer because Minneapolis is also a big market. I recommend 20
Yeah.
roofers here. People will call you out, say, "Well, you did this to have leads for your company." I don't want to
Mm,
ever have that conversation. And also, I want to be focused on other business. Less is more. That's what I preach. That's what I teach. And that's what I do. So when I became as popular as I am now, as far as the travel goes, and all the businesses not even popular, busy. I became busy.
right.
So a roofing business is very selfish. Like it requires attention. If you're not paying attention to what's happening in the business, sooner or later you're gonna ruin your company. You cannot
Mm,
do it part time. So we
mm,
were doing 4 or 5 million a year, and if I would travel somewhere, come back, like it was giving me headache. Like, what if we have accident on the job? What if
right.
this? What if that? So what's gonna happen is you're not there, you're not present. And what if my GM resigns tomorrow and now I have to be soaked in and fix my business,
Mm,
recruit? So it became a liability and I did not want it. So I have a amazing production manager. We start talking to sell my company to him. He agreed. So for 3 years, I'm no longer in the business. I mean, I still travel. For the past 3 years, I've traveled to over 100 roofing companies. So I spend day two per week with a roofing company. So I still in the business. I still
right.
consult roofing owners. So like I left my company, but I'm part of many, many companies now. So I know the struggle. I know the market. I can write a book about roofing business today based on what I learned after I sold my roofing company.
Right.
And that's where I am today.
Man, that's awesome. Um, in your opinion, what are the most important qualities that a roofing professional should possess?
You have to know your numbers. Numbers, number one thing. You have to, well, first of all, you have to spend less than you make. Many don't understand that concept.
That's
And
a good one right there.
you have to know, like, and that's the reality because money is going to start, like, it's not your money. The
Right.
millions of dollars people give you, it's deposits, it's liability, it's your money after you pay your taxes, pay your people, pay your suppliers. That's the amount you can, and people just don't understand. They tap into deposits, they tap into bank account. Your bank
Mm,
account is not your QuickBooks account. So sometimes it can be 5%. Like you might have $300,000 in the bank, but if QuickBooks tells you that you only have 10,000, you have to act like you owe 10,000. The problem is contractors don't get that. What's QuickBooks balance? Well, that's the balance. Like, if everybody who pays you ask money back, and every sub gets paid, and taxes and audits and all of that gets paid. So numbers is the biggest accounting, financing, the biggest in this business. And then I also believe that every business owner have to be branding experts. You cannot outsource it. So many roofing companies outsource to marketing companies their brand. Like nobody gonna tell your story like you can. No
right.
one knows your business like you can. This can be outsourced. So you have to be good at sales. You have to be good at marketing. You you have to carry your name to the world. You have to, like, I don't care how good your quality of the work is. So many people have this mistake that they think that their trade, their business, the quality of the work is the business. It's not the business. It's
Right.
maybe 20% of your business. You have to become good at other 80%.
So, how do you stay up to date on the latest trends and technologies in the roofing industry if you're so busy creating content and other things?
You have to consume content. You can't just pour. Like the way I do it, I consume 10 times more content that like you have to be curious by nature. I
Yeah,
read a lot, I talk a lot. You at no point you can become know-it-all guy. Like I don't
right.
know it all. And as a matter of fact, every video that I make, like you have to have a title for the video before you even start creating. I never turn on the camera and share my thoughts. Like I meditate. Like if you look at my notes, I create 10, 20 notes per day. Always think, always observe. I look at the questions that the roofers ask. I read the news. Like you start your day, you go into news updates. Like you have to, like you cannot create if you don't consume. You can't just pour, you have to refill. So I refill a lot,
Mm,
and I
I like
meditate it.
that.
I meditate even more. So every day I spend 2 3 hours meditating, thinking, reading, like my sauna sessions. My like I consume a lot of content. I look at a lot of ideas, and then like doing stuff like this, talking to other people, asking questions, surround yourself with the people way smarter than you are. I mean, one perk of being influencers or a busy person, that people want to hire you, people want to invite you. Like I mean, this week alone, so we came back from Ohio. I've seen the guy who started supply house like 5 years ago. I've seen his operation. I learned a lot from him. I'm pretty sure I gave a lot to, like this week alone I've met 15 more people that I didn't know last week. Like we have people
Mm,
coming from New York, and
yeah,
every event, because I travel every week. So when you travel, it enriches you. Every
yeah.
person you meet, networking, reading, meditating, you have to consume.
Mm. That's a really important thing about creating content. And I'm just kind of on the fourth, like just really starting this, right? And I'm starting to understand that a whole lot more, right? Like consuming that content is important because you got to understand what they're consuming. So what kind of things that they're putting out, what's popular at the moment. But one thing that you touched on that I don't do is like world news and stuff like that. Like, there's stuff going on in Israel right now that I just had to get caught up on in the last couple of days because I really didn't know. Um, and here we are, right? Um, so speaking about traveling, right? You do public speaking, and what what about public, like what drew you in to speak in front of a crowd?
Demand. It's supply demand. When actually, for the first couple of years, I've denied almost every opportunity to speak, or I didn't do podcasts. Like to for me to do this 3 years ago, the answer would be no. You cannot find my interviews 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Last 2 years, it's finally clicked. I did not see myself as a speaker. I did not see myself
Mm,
as a guest at someone else show. Like I feel like a lot of people are trying to get on stage, trying to like,
yeah,
I don't, even at my own conference I don't speak. Last year I had 1,200 people showed up. I don't
yeah,
use my own stage to speak because I don't think I'm worthy enough. I don't think I have like I'll share update. I'll take it back. I did share directory update, but that was about it. And there was expected was a big update, but it was not me. It was not a motivational speaker. It was not anything like that. YouTube and public speaking are identical in its principles. The more you do it, the better you become. If you watch my videos from 2015, you will hear very bad English. Actually, every video that I made back then, at the moment I film it, I already knew about all the mistakes. So I was self-aware how
mm,
bad my English was, but it was too late. If I did multiple cuts, I would be keep cutting, cutting, cutting because
right.
my level was so poor. And sometimes you have to let it go and let the time teach you, because the more you do, the better you become. Today I'm no longer nervous. Like, if I go to interview, if I travel to client, I don't have anxiety. I get on the plane, I go, I know I deliver value. I know I've put 10,000 hours in my trade. I know everything about a roofing business, as far as like how to start from zero to 5 million, and how to advertise market. I know ins and outs, so I'm comfortable to talk. If I don't know, I'll ask and I'll learn more. But at the end of the day, once you the confidence comes with experience, and now I'm confident. My English is much better. I'm no longer shy, camera shy, because I was camera shy when I started as
Okay.
well, and we all are. This is
Right.
not natural to anyone. Like,
Yeah.
you just have to and public speaking, the same thing.
Yeah.
I was the guy in high school. My class picked me to be like, we were doing something on the stage, and I ran away. I was that kid who could not be on the stage. I was not popular, and I ran away, and I was embarrassed later. But stage always put fear in me. Like, that's how I grew up. I was never confident, and now if I have to speak, let's be it.
So you touched briefly on Roofing Process Conference. Tell us about that and why you started it.
I'm a conference junkie. I go to so many conferences. I spend $20,000 to $30,000 a year on my personal education, but I did not go to a roofing conference. So I went to Win the Storm. It was like the only event back in 2017, 18 that I could see. Like, I went there. I was quite disappointed. There's a lot of things that I've seen there. I'm like, so what happened is I went to that conference, and the same year I went to YouTube conference and Content Marketing World in Cleveland,
Okay.
marketing conference where like people who run marketing agency for like Coke, Pepsi, GE, like big brands, right?
Yeah.
And I saw the difference. I saw professional events and not professional. I'm a teacher by trade.
Yeah.
My background is ever since I was like 15, 16-year-old kid, I've done summer camps. So I like organizing crowds, especially anything to do with the kids. So I've done
Okay.
like ten summer camps. Think about doing events in a school. So actually, my first degree, I have 3-year college degree. I'm a You can call me teacher organizer. Like in a
Okay.
school, I can do like public event, like like a prom. That would be my official degree. Like I learned how to do it. So anyway, I like organizing crowds. I like organizing people. I'm very good at it, whether it's kids or adults, doesn't matter. Even with our friends, I like doing trips. Like we've done retreats. I love all of that stuff, and I've seen there's such a big need. Like, I was telling myself, SVG When the Storm can't be the only one. Like, I wanted
Right.
clean conference for hardworking roofers I wanted, I guess, family friendly event.
Right.
I wanted to have fun, but I wanted to be educational because I've seen a lot of sellouts. I've seen a lot of marketers and like high pressure sales. I'm like, no, this is not the way. And I learned from the best conferences this country has to offer. And to this day, I went to Content Marketing World every year. I went to YouTube conference every year. So I'm part of many other communities. Like I go to CrossFit games. Like I'm part of many events, and what I like, I always observe the best strategies, practices there, and I bring it to my event. And the Roofing Process Conference grew so fast. Our first event, we put it together within 60 days, and we have like
Wow.
150 people attended it first year, and then second year 500, then 900, then 1200. Now we're gonna have couple thousand this year.
6 weeks is not a lot of time.
No,
It's
but
just
if you
not.
Yeah, but I would. So what happened is I was doing smaller events, 40, 50 people every
Okay.
month, but I wanted to do event in Orlando, and so many people wanted to register. And when I saw that we have over 100 requests, I'm like, this is no longer, smaller event. So I
Right.
called it conference. I mean, I'm really good at branding, so I just came up with a roofing process conference name. I'm like, this is gonna be first annual December, like 2018, I believe, and threw it on, did it. It worked.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
Can
A
I
lot of
plug in
people.
one more? I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Unlike anyone else, like all my competition stuff, we don't do sales. This is how crazy it is. And this is how we're so different from any other event. I don't have salespeople. So imagine having a couple thousand people invitation only. Like, I don't have anybody who sells tickets. There's no calls, there's no emails, there is nothing. People like I sell through social media. I invite people, I salute people who, I announce people who purchase tickets. They can talk to me, answer a question, but I'm responsible for very big event, and but also content invites like-minded people. So
Right.
we have a record we're very proud of. No jerks ever attended the roofing process conference. Every year at the end, I go in and say, I've never met one jerk at my event, and I've
Mm.
met a lot of jerks at others.
Yeah, I got my own little. I think everybody has their own experience with roofing conferences, and it just appalls me some of the things that are broadcasted and put on stage. I can't take my daughter there. Can't take my son there. Um, my daughter and son are getting to that age, and they're really really savvy. Um, I'm an influence on their life, number one, and
100%.
so when they look at dad going to something like this, then they're like, oh, it's okay for me. And so I have pulled away from every conference in the last 2 years now, besides like IRE and the local conference for Roofing Contractor Association of Texas. That was a fairly decent one. I didn't see any of the speakers or anything like that, but I know the trade show itself was really decent. Um, what's your experience on trade shows, and how do you work those trade shows? Do you sit in a booth or do you walk around? How do you handle those things?
We don't like I've done both at IRE.
Yep.
Last couple of years I didn't just attend. We're probably gonna come back with the directory, but see, the direct everything I do is word of mouth. But if your
Right.
product is good, if it makes sense, you don't really need to display. But having product now, like my own underlayment, I'm gonna get a booth. But overall, just be present, network. It's connections. I love IRE. IRE is one of
Yeah.
the
Me
best
too.
conferences. And to answer that, like family, I'm the same way. We actually have Orlando is very family oriented
Yeah.
city, and last year so many families came in, and I mean I just love Orlando for that, because we always do it at Rose, and it's always the same hotel. It's so family friendly. So many people come with the kids, so their wives there. Like, I met a lot of kids last year. We have kids
Heck
on the
yeah.
floor, so it's absolutely love it. As far as IRE goes, it's you have to work it, and
Yeah.
the biggest problem with IRE that I see is big leaders really investing in a drunk fast parties. Like they encourage it.
Ooh.
I mean, at the second third day you can't pull guys, because roofers, we don't stop, right? Like if we have fun, we
Right.
have fun. And I have no problem with like after party and stuff, but have to have a limit, because
Yeah.
so many people have drinking problem, drug
Yep.
problems, and when you throw like big concert, when you pick up a tab for everyone, right? Like unlimited tab, not just 2 3
Yeah.
drinks. Now it's not controlled chaos anymore, and then the very next morning you're not going to have attendance. And i
Yeah.
see i see so many guys attending, and they just wasting their networking days. They start drink on the first day or after the first day, and next 2 days I mean, I've seen people not even show up. And I always tell
Yep.
people, like, if you want to have fun, do it at the end.
Yeah.
Like be very moderate first day, but then there's not, I mean, I remember we were going to, like, with my team, and my team would show up at 6 a.m. back at the hotel, and I'm pissed. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that too, but my thing is
Right.
like, I can be that guy. I can drink until 6 in the morning and still be on a stage at 10, but I know myself. And so many people, it's wasted next day. They're done.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy. Get the most out of it. This is
Thank
the
you for
time where
touching
you
on
learn.
that. That's so. I feel it's so rampant in the industry, and it's you even see it at the smaller conferences. The amount of alcohol that's drank, or drugs that's consumed in that day before. Like you said, there's people that don't even show up, the next day, and like these are 2 3 days of 3-day events. I think
I'll,
it's really important that people pace themselves. Like, if
I
you're a
want
drinker, I don't care. Like, but pace yourself, man. You spent thousands of dollars to
But
do this network and you're wasting it.
it comes from the leadership.
Yeah,
When leaders are doing it, when they encourage it, like, and I'm like, big companies and stuff, they want you drunk. They, like, honestly, here's my biggest problem with big leaders. Like, I've seen people at the big corporations, like, you try to reach them, talk to them about any kind of business, and they're like, later, well, I came here
right.
to talk business, and they're not capable. Like,
Mm,
if I have 3 drinks in me, we'll shake hand, we can sign a contract right there on the spot. But with them, you can't even have them answer email, talk even after. They
right.
don't remember shit. So we have a event here in Minneapolis. One of the companies was doing a drone training, all day certificate. I'm talking about $500 class, all day,
Okay.
eight hour class. It was 2 or 3 years ago. And we have this company flew from New York. So the guy come in, they took them out
Oh
night
no.
before, and the guy did not even show up, and the owner is like, what the heck? I mean, imagine going to get certificate to fly a drone for 8 hours, fly in night before, going out and not even show up for the class, go back. Like, that's the reality. I mean, but how much that cost? If
It costs a lot.
it cost a lot, it's
Um,
lost opportunity.
Huge lost opportunity. I mean, just that alone. There's tons of opportunity that you could use with that drone. I mean, back to the conferences, if, there are certain people that you would not have necessarily have met um, if you weren't there. And so I can attribute a lot of my success in the industry to those conferences, and not the learning portion of all these conferences is the best, but the network is amazing. And that's really where I go after now more than the education.
Mm.
Now, if I see someone like yourself, or there's quite a few other, big names in the industry, if I see that someone's there and they're going to teach a class, I'm going to be there for that class because I still want to learn. I need to know. I gotta be better at this. Um, let's talk about your impact. How do you measure your impact of your work on the roofing industry?
I don't think you can measure. I think, hold on 1 second. It's
You're
not
good.
charging. Make sure it's mm,
Ladies and
okay.
gentlemen, we
It's
got
good.
some technical difficulties.
No, it's just I had to plug in my computer. Um, I it's not for me to say, it's not for me to comment. I know what I do, and I know what people tell me. You getting messages, you getting everywhere you go. When people come to you, like I remember at my conference, um, this Hispanic family came to me and told me, "Are you frozen or are you just looking down?" Okay, I see.
No, yeah, sorry.
So it'll give you goosebumps when people tell you that they started their business because of you. Like, it's actually YouTube, the free advice that you give. I pour heart in my videos. For 3 years I didn't monetize, not a single dollar, and every piece of content I put out, I want to make sure it's the best of the best. I don't hold back. Even recently, I did a video on a guy that was 20-minute video, and I'm reading comments, and everybody's like, Dimitri, you're not watering down. You're saying it how it is. There's nothing to sell. You're not pushing anything. When you read that comment, and later you meet person in life, and he tells you, hey, your video helped me with this and this, like, that's your legacy. That's But how do you measure it? You can't. I mean,
Yeah,
I look at the numbers. I mean, we're getting millions of views per month. My average view duration is 7 minutes, so I'm getting that people are watching me. But when you do conference and meet people in person, that's where you make impact. Like, even like this Ohio trip, so I go to high in the middle of nowhere, and I see people driving for like 2, 3 hours to meet me, 6 hours, five
yeah,
hours, just to shake my hand and say, like, and I do the same to people who influence me and help me with something. I guess as humans, we are the most appreciative of free advice. And what I learned early on is, do not try to monetize your life. Not everything that you do have to have a price on. So many YouTubers and other creators make it wrong. Like, we hate lawyers. Like, I remember when I got to this country, 2005, I needed I had a 4 months visa, and I needed attorney to change my status to apply. Like there's a legal way, so I had social security. My visa got expired, so you have to appeal to extend your visa. And I remember calling immigration attorney. I'm talking to one guy, and this is how many people operate in consulting space today. So you call him, you tell him like, "Hey, I have J1 visa, 4 months. I need to extend it." He's like, "Well, every situation is different. Absolutely cannot say anything over the phone. It's $100 for the first consultation. Boom, boom, boom." Right. And then I called another one. That lawyer has been my lawyer for many years. We did my parents' paperwork in 2015 with her. When I got married, she did my paperwork and early on. So call her. She spent 30 minutes on the phone with me, told me exactly what I need to do, what my options are, did not charge me, right? How much,
Wow.
and I do it today. Like so many people don't realize how easy it is to reach me. Like my phone number is in half of my posts. Sometimes people call me, I answer, and they're like, "Oh wow, I did not expect that you're gonna answer." And whether you my student, paying client, not paying client, I'm still gonna give you my best advice, because I feel like when you pour your heart on someone, not trying to sell them, sooner or later they're gonna do business with you just for the
Yeah.
sake of it. And many people have signed up for roofing school and never watched anything and said, "Misha, I've learned so much from you, from your YouTube over the years. I just wanted to pay you." That's why I signed up for roofing school. So they
Wow.
do it for 2, 3 months, and I would do it something like that.
Right.
Like if I like Gary Vee, and he taught me so much. Like I'm gonna go buy a couple bottles of wines from wine library just to support Gary Vee, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, it's the legacy cannot be measured by the person. Like measure, it can be measured only by audience. Like I don't dwell on my influence in the industry. I know I'm influential. I hear the feedback all the time, but that's not for me to say or comment.
Mm. How do you navigate the challenges of being such a polarizing figure in the industry? And what advice would you give to others who want to stand up for what's right?
Just be you. Like this is me. I don't do it for likes. I don't do it for conflict. I don't do it for views. I do it because that's my standard, because it's important to me. And what I always tell people is be you. If it bothers you, say it. People will follow you. People like you will follow you. Like if like I'm very sensitive when someone does not pay someone, like because I remember
Mm,
growing up my dad would not get paid, and my mom would fight bosses and stuff. We would try to get paid, or our family was affected. So for me, when hard working crew guy does not get paid, it comes from my heart. It doesn't come from, "Oh, I have another story, I'm gonna get so many views." No, I know going in that, by the way, if I would be for the views, there's 10 ways to get views. Half naked girls drinking beer, like there's so
yeah.
many ways to get views.
Yeah.
Content that I create, calling someone else out does not get you views. And if you
No.
analyze YouTube, it'll be trending for like five. Like my top views are not coming from drama videos, they're coming from my guides. But
Mm,
my influence comes and my character comes from when I call out people. So for me, I'm not gonna apologize for who I am. If my videos, like, and that's another thing. When people call me and say, "Why don't you call this guy out?" Because I don't have to. You're not
mm,
paying me. You cannot tell me what to do. This is my YouTube channel. If you, and so many people are, it's weird how it goes. And this is the hardest part, because so many people come to me now with the stories and they're like, "Call this guy out." I'm like, "You call him out."
right.
Well, you have influence. Well, you have influence too. You have
Right.
Facebook, you have YouTube, you have phone. So you're telling me that you cannot make public statement and say, "Hey, this guy is doing this and this," but you want me to do
Right.
it for you? Like that's what pisses me the most, when people start saying, "You have more influence than me, then you should do it." Well, become build your influence. If you know, so like, I cannot change the world problems, I cannot change the industry. I can set the example and the precedent, and now everybody else can follow the lead. But I'm not going to call out scammer in every state and every, like, but guess what, in every market we can have fewer of me who will clean that area and call out the bad players in that area.
Mm. So is this like a little bit of a call for people to stand up? I
I
like
guess
that.
so. I mean, if you see something, say something. I mean, how else we're gonna clean the industry? How else we're gonna? I mean, we all look bad when someone steals. It's not my
Yeah,
job to call out guys in, I don't know, Houston.
right.
Like, I don't know what's happening in other markets.
Mm, that's pretty that's pretty on it. Ladies and gentlemen, stand up for what's right in your life. Um, and it's not popular either.
It's not.
Um,
But
being that
someone have to
figure.
do it.
So, right, someone has to. And one of the things I wanted to say was thank you for doing that, right? For being one of those guys. And I'd say that probably the most popular and the most heard. But you're right. If you want to make a change, you have to stand up. We need more people to do that.
Yep. You know who I love? David Taggart. I think he's Austin or San Antonio.
San
I started
Antonio.
seeing his content and the stuff that he is saying. I love it. It's not popular opinion, but he like I read the post and like you can see strong character there. He's like he start calling out people who goes on stages on conferences, right? Because that's
Yep.
the thing. You know you can't complain that we have a bad events, bad conferences without saying something about it, because how would people change
Yeah.
if we don't talk, if we just accept it and quiet about it? How why would insurance companies change? Why would organizers of big conferences change? But when we speak, I mean, I think like we killed Win the Storm. Like when the storm was dead last year, and it's because finally people started speaking up and we killed the bad event. So it was common to them, but
Right.
enough people said something about it. Now it's dead.
Man, I that was a lot too. Seeing the videos from the last couple of years from the different conferences. Give a shout out to TJ McCormick doing some of those videos, just
Yep.
walking through and just showing what he's seen. Um, it was pretty impactful. I did not go to any, like I said earlier, didn't go to any of the ones here in the last couple of years. So um, I'm glad that there's a change. I'm glad there's a shift right now in the industry because it took a lot to make that shift happen. Um,
100%.
People died. People have been killed. It's not a thing to play about anymore. This is serious. We have to we have to pay attention to what we're portraying. What do you think that someone from outside of this industry is thinking when they come to some of these conferences, right? So, um, I'm really excited about the way and the shift that's going on in the industry today, but I'm still holding on. I'm still going to stand up um, with a lot of different people to try to make that change happen. Um, what are some of you? Yeah, I would know we're getting close to an hour here. What are some of your future goals or aspirations for Roofing Insights and your work in the roofing industry?
Well, I'm actually shifting away. Well, I'm still gonna maintain roofing insights. Probably gonna be like I have a big team. So that's why like roofing insights is not my biggest business. Directory is my biggest goal.
Good.
Is for the next 10 years I put all my sweat, tears into directory. Like as a matter of fact, even right before this I was on a phone call with my team, with my lawyer. So directory is a beast.
Yeah.
We connect homeowners, contractors. We go after other industries as well. As far as roofing insights goes, the brand is built, is there. I think I'm gonna get out of the conference space myself. I might like roofing process conference might go not for sale per se, but maybe even for sale. I'm okay giving it away to someone else to manage it. It's too much for me. Like
Yeah.
as we grow, directory becomes bigger and bigger. I have to shift my focus to build, multi-billion-dollar company, and everything else delegate. So I'm delegating a
Mm,
lot of stuff at Roofing Insights. My team is already doing a lot of content management and stuff. I have a team of like 8 people in the conference roofing insights activities. I'm doing less of it. I'm doing more manufacturing, more directory stuff, and just shifting my gear to bigger business, and maybe even delegate content creation if I can find co-host. Brent Siemens was helping me for a little bit. I probably will have in a couple of years several hosts of the channel, people who actually will create and do content like I did it for years. So I think that's the end goal, because I don't see myself doing it in 10 years per se. So I have not bigger aspirations, but different goals, different ideas. And in 10 years, I want to retire. I want to retire by the age of 50. I don't know what it means by directory, maybe smaller. I might still own like 20% of directory and be on a board member or something, but I have 10 laboring years in front of me with a big focus on directory, and everything else going to fade down or delegate it to other people.
That's awesome. Um, there is there any takeaways that you would say that you would want the viewers to see today?
We talked a lot about content. We talked a lot about industry. If people think like, here's the takeaway: we have a lot of noise. The social media makes everything exaggerated, like a little bit bigger. My brother did a video. He purchased archives for how people were roofing in 20s, in 30s, and 40s, and I was reading comments under some of those videos. So we have a video that's very popular, tons of shares, like guys roofing in 20s and 30s, like they're hustling, putting weights. That everybody's skinny, everybody's white, Irish people. So very cool thing to see. But one comment really drove home with me. The guy said, "Imagine that all of those people in this video are dead now."
Mm,
And because the video is from 1920s, so nobody lives 100 years, and
right.
that's my biggest thought today. Like you touched on people dying from the conferences and stuff. We live the life like there's no tomorrow. The reality
Yep.
is tomorrow is not guaranteed. We talk about legacy. We talk about like make it count. When you go to those conferences, when you pick up a beer next time, when you make a decision, what do you sell? We're so busy. It's so hectic. We are wasting our lives with no purpose. We don't know what we do, where we go, what's next. We live like there's no tomorrow. And I think if people really start thinking about their true legacy, because I
Mm,
feel like, imagine this. So let's say you're working hard in your town and you see there's a crook who's stealing money from someone, and someone who's not paying the bills, and you're like, well, I can't say anything about it because why would I? Like, but imagine if 1 week from now you're no longer going to be around. Would you
mm,
change anything that you do? Because
mm,
you being quiet, you not impacting people, you minding your own business, you only focusing on your pay or this job, like we have to think bigger. You making the decision how you're gonna waste this day at a conference instead of meeting other people. Like the
mm,
life is too short. We only have 75 summers. You only, like, imagine this: if you know that you only have 10 conferences left in your life, what would you do different? Like, would you waste them like you're wasting them right now? It-
wow.
like like I'm starting thinking bigger and bigger, because honestly, we have 100 years. That's it. Like nobody knows their grandfather.
Right.
Like, and nobody gonna remember you or your car. So like you're gonna be faded
Yeah.
in 30, 40 years. Like in 100 years from now, no one will remember us. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, but they can pull out some videos. And I don't know, like we have to do bigger things. We have to be more influential and more intentional on what we leave behind, because so many people in our industry only think about what's ahead of them right now.
Mm,
When they go on the roofs and not thinking about safety, when they lifting four bundles at a time and not thinking about their spine, like all of those things, we live like there's no tomorrow. You have to start thinking bigger. I mean, that's my biggest takeaway today from life, if you will. I live like there's no tomorrow. I'm doing the best I can today. I want to influence my kids, people around me. That's why I'm doing other podcasts and other interviews, and that's the way out for me.
Well, you power lift like there's no tomorrow.
Hey, I have two practices today already. I have a boxing practice and I have CrossFit, and I have a personal record, 280 pounds above my head.
I
I
seen that. Looked like you put the alligator on there.
Yeah,
I love
280.
it. Somebody was like, somebody's gonna say this was all fabricated. It
Yeah,
was made
yeah.
up. I'm like,
He,
dude, you
he,
can
he,
see the people in the background. They're just like, whoa, and they're like giving a hand clap because it's a
haters gonna say it's photoshopped.
Photoshop. Oh my gosh. We didn't even get into mindsets or uh like your
I,
process during the day,
I
your
have. If you have
routines,
time, I
etc.
have time. If you
Well,
have time, I
yeah, I mean, I've got plenty of time. Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's talk about your routine. Like, what do you do on a daily basis?
Sure. Lots of saunas, lots of cold plunge, lots of workouts. For me, I can. You know what's funny? I have a 15-year-old daughter, Anastasia, and she told my wife the other day. She said, "Mom, if I don't work out, I'm not the same. I don't feel good." That's my
Oh,
daughter. She's so like on it. Like she comes to me all the times. Like, "Hey, Dad, can you show me a routine?" Like I teach my kids routines, so I
yeah.
create workouts for them. Like, what do you want? Legs. Okay, so let's do 10 lunges, 10 squat. Like, and I do like nice workout, kill her, and now she's happy. So like we only have one body. Like I care what I put in this body. I
Yeah.
don't eat chips. I don't eat a lot of junk food. I mean, I have a sweet tooth. Like I like my gummy bears here and there, but overall, I eat pretty healthy. I cannot start a day without workout. Like when I travel, when I check in a hotel, before I go to my room, I just look at the gym to plan ahead, like what I'm gonna do there. What's my options? Is it big? Is it small? What's the biggest weight they have here? So I start planning my gym workout in the hotel before I even get to my room. You have to keep the main thing the main thing. So for me, the
Mm,
main thing is YouTube. So
yeah.
if this is the engine for all of my brands, the main thing is the main thing. I have to put 3, 5 videos a week, no matter what. And then like everything else fills through the cracks, like phone calls, talking to lawyers, talking to clients, dealing with the fires, all goes in between. So I'm driving 30 minutes from gym to home. That's where I'm talking to my lawyer. That's where
Mhm.
I'm answering my phone call. But listen, in 2018, I found myself owning $3 million business, um, living paycheck to paycheck, always struggling to meet Friday payroll. I did not see trees through the forest. People were stealing from me. I did not see it. I did not see the numbers. I did not go to the gym. I was skinny and tall. I was depressed. I neglected myself a couple of years. I was stressed, and I was suicidal, like truly
Okay.
100% suicidal. Like if not for my kids, I could take my life at that time. I felt like the biggest failure. Like I
Wow.
felt like I built this, but it like did I build something good? Because if I cannot pay people, how good am I? I felt like a
Mm,
failure, and it was. But I made a promise to myself that no matter what, I will never skip the gym. The first decision I made, like there was a few other resolutions, like reading Bible, getting close to God, all of that. You have to take care of your spiritual life, but
yeah.
also it's all together. Like your body, your spiritual life, your emotions, it's all connected.
Yeah.
And you can't just be all business but neglect your body and neglect spiritual aspect of it. It's all intertwined. So I just
Mm,
promised myself I'm gonna do the main thing, and I cannot work out afternoon. And I tell you why: because your brain goes in like by noon, it's in every direction. You already
right.
like people falling apart. 5:30 in the morning, nobody expects me to answer phone call.
Right.
My kids are still asleep, so
Yep.
I'm not robbing people in my community. I'm not robbing my like by 8 o'clock. I already worked out. I
Yeah.
already like even on the weekends. So
Same.
I don't have guilt.
Oh, weekends.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
I mean, I'll have a day off, but yeah, weekends too.
Dang. Okay.
So because when I come home, I want to spend time with my kids. I don't work
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays. I cook like on Sunday. My wife does not touch kitchen. Best meals of the week is Sunday. I have to cook meat. I have to do
He
the
said the
whole.
best meals of the week is Sunday.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, it's like my kids love it. Like that
Yeah.
lunch. It's so important for to raise healthy kids, emotionally healthy. Like for
Yeah.
them, they have to see that you love your wife and you guys every
Mm,
Sunday eat together. It's their security, it's their secure zone, and they have to see it. And it is the best meal. Like I treat my family really well, and Saturdays is just home projects and doing leaves and cutting grass and doing whatever, like going on bike rides. But Saturday's home project day. Sunday is a family day, your church and stuff like that. And Monday through Friday, just hustle, hustle, hustle.
how important is scheduling family time for you?
It's not scheduling, it's just being disciplined and it's routines. Having 5 kids is hectic. So you have lots of soccer games, volleyball games. Actually, so my middle child, third, Sasha, she's in volleyball. And as funny as it sounds, every time I come to her game, they win. Every single time. So they've lost most of their games because usually my wife picks her up. But every time I come pick her up, and I cheer and I'm walking there. Like they were like, I've been at 4 games and that's the only 4 games that they won.
That's
And one
awesome.
time I was on the trip, my dad went to pick her up and they won that game. It's like either you or your dad
Mm,
has to go. It's just funny. If my wife's there, they're probably gonna lose. Anyway, so they're like, make sure you go there. And it's pretty tight games. They're not like very competitive 11-year-olds, but it's fun.
right.
So I spend time with my son. Like I love being presence with the kid. Like the thing about what people may mistaken right now, like everybody's, oh, quality time is like, it's not even about quality time, it's just to be there. Like I can pick up my son from the soccer and for 30 minutes we might even not talk, but I know that couple comments here and there, watch something together on YouTube while you're driving, that's the more like, they don't need to hear a lot, you don't need to talk, you don't need to annoy them with the 500 questions, just being there doing a project together. It's comments. Like I have big bond with my kids, and I just don't believe that you have to, force you like for quality time. Let's go, let's talk. No, you don't need to talk. You just, 5 minutes a day, 30 minutes a week with per child is enough for him. Like they just need to know. Like I'm teaching my oldest driving right now. So I have a big car, a
Nice.
Wagoneer. So we went on the ride, and I told her, Anastasia, you're gonna get an accident sooner or later. You're gonna hit a car, and I want you to know this is just piece of metal. Y- I'll never get mad. I'll never scream, yell, or anything. You'll never get in trouble. But I want you to call me every time it happens. Don't worry. I don't want your anxiety level to goes up. If you hit someone, or the most important thing is for you to be safe, and for you to call me so we can deal with the aftermath. But just so it happened, like don't worry. And she
Yeah.
said, thank you, good to know. Like the way she thanked me for that, the comment she made, like I saw in her that she understood that, and she believed me. She's like, okay, good
Right.
to know. But because that's how we have to raise our kids, they have to be comfortable with us. You don't have to talk to them all the time, but they need to know that they can come and talk to you when they need to talk to you.
I love that. That's a that's a big deal. Having that consistency, I feel,
Yep.
right? And I like that you pointed on that, right? 5 minutes a day or what have you. Um, when you're out of town, do you take the time to FaceTime with your kids?
I travel. I'm very. It's actually the best thing. So people think that I travel way more than I travel.
Yeah.
In 17 years being married, the longest trip that I took without my family was actually a China trip, 8 days. I always travel for 2 nights, maybe three. It's 1 to 3 nights. I always leave on Wednesdays and come back on Fridays.
Okay.
So my kids are all 5 kids in a private school, so they come home at around 4, and they go to bed at 8. So if you think about it, I only miss my kids twice a week, twice 2 days a week from 4 to 8. That's it. Um, if I travel for like 3, 4 days, we'll do FaceTime and stuff. But most of the time, you need to understand this, that family, like you and your wife need a break, and you and your kids need a break too. My wife and my kids need to take a break. That's why on Saturdays, when I come from the trip, my wife usually leaves the house on Saturday. You can have them. I love spending time with my kids, like without my wife. That's the best thing. And kids love it. It's like, oh yeah, mom is leaving. Let's go, because they know they're gonna get away with a lot of stuff and we're gonna do a lot of fun. So we go to movies with our kids. We always have fun. And my
Right.
wife hates me for that. She's like, I hate you because they're so excited that I'm leaving. But it's healthy. It's healthy
Right.
for you to leave, because when you come back, they love you a little bit more. And I'm
Yeah.
very transparent what I do. Like all my kids know about like all my businesses. They always ask questions. My daughter this morning asked me like, what's the next time you're traveling? They ask cities. I tell them what I do. I remember when I started consulting years ago, I said, hey, I'm flying to Orlando. You know how we have a storm group, and it's running good, and but not every dad has a good company to run, so they need to make money to support their families. And this father have a problem with his business, so they're gonna go fix his business. And kids need to know that you are on a mission, that you're not just
Mm,
leaving them. And when you explain it like that, they're like, oh cool. And I have it easy because I'm a YouTuber. So like kids are so into YouTube these days. They're like,
right.
so
They're
like
watching.
exactly. So their
Yeah.
friends would come over like, how many subscribers your dad has? How many views you have? It's
Yep.
always part of the conversation.
Yep.
What's your big? It's so cool, and I love it. So for my kids, I'm popular dad.
Yeah. Like
So
a movie star.
yeah, and when we go somewhere and people start like, we went to Mall of America, like in the mall, and someone comes, Dimitri, and my kids are the biggest trash talkers, and they're like, oh, here we go again, like it's just so funny. But yeah, it happens all the time now, and it's fun for kids to see. But it, like before, I was kind of shy, embarrassed because my English and this and that. Now, like I'm accepted, and my kids love me, and they're proud of me, and I keep pouring back to them, keep explaining what I do and how I do it. And the biggest talks in the family is like, even my youngest 8-year old is like, what's your best business? What's your best car? Like, why do you do this? And they all know all my businesses, and it's so cool to see. And they're like, I can't believe you sold your roofing company. We like that roofing company. So, good stuff.
That is awesome. Man, I appreciate you taking the time today to share this with everyone, right? Like this is really important, been important to me. And I know that a lot of people are going to benefit from this podcast and the reels that'll be produced from this podcast. Um, Once again, we're going to wrap this up. It's the end of the episode here on the Roofing on the Rise Studios. We are sponsored by Roofing Supply Incorporated here in the Houston marketplace, where you can get your shingles from me, the Roof Don, 210-919-8987. We're also sponsored by West Group Public Adjusters, where you can get an awesome hand-tailored claims experience. If you're looking for their number, you can find it on Facebook, or you can reach out to me directly. Again, 210-919-8987. And if you haven't seen these yet, these are my new Roof Dawn at Roofing Supply Incorporated Stress Cubes. So with your next order, you'll get one of these through me at RSI. And if you are just looking to get one of those, hit me up. Definitely make sure that you get one of those in your hands. Again, Dimitri, thank you so much for this interview and taking the time to help us today understand a little bit more about you and your businesses.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, brother.
You guys have a wonderful day.